Hello and welcome to our. Oh, wait, no. Okay, you give me a
Okay,
little
are
second.
we? There you go. Let's do it.
All right.
Yes.
Hello and welcome to our first live stream as a team here at Chosen PLLC. My name's
Hey
Benjamin.
y'all.
Hey,
Hey.
my name's Benjamin. I'm a licensed professional counselor here on the team. And we're just gonna let's go around the room and introduce yourself. And Rachel, you go first.
Okay. Hey y'all. I'm Rachel Little. I am a limited license master social worker slash therapist.
Hi, my name is Jill Chastain. I'm a licensed professional counselor and also certified in whole food plant-based nutrition.
And I am Dr. Leatrice Brooks, and I'm a licensed psychologist.
She's also our fearless leader and owner of this wonderful practice, among many other wonderful things. So today, we wanted to talk about when you're actually happy and doing well, you should actually go to therapy. And you're like, what? What do you mean? Um, I'll start us off. Here's the idea. Therapy
Okay,
in
pause.
general.
Can I pause, y'all? Okay, look, y'all, because we
Yes.
live, and this is how I am in real life. So I'm just gonna be me, right?
Bring
Okay,
it.
That's
so
right.
because this is our first live, which you've already acknowledged, can you talk about what Clinician Conversations is and why we do it?
Yes, I
Thank you.
definitely could. Yep, no problem. Well, Clinician Conversations is a bunch of us therapists here at Chosen PLLC kind of just getting together and doing what we do. We like to get together and talk and banter amongst each other and just share ideas. And this actually started offline years ago.
Yeah.
We were chatting, and it was just really good energy and fun to do. And I kind of went, maybe we could record this. So we've been recording these things for a podcast kind of thing offline. And it kind of just has grown since its inception into what it is today is a bunch of clinicians talking about various topics and just giving folks kind of insight into how we as therapists kind of do life and deal with certain challenges and things that may come up. So anybody want to add to that? Because that's kind of my
I do.
understanding.
I do.
Bring it on, bring it on.
Okay, so to that, I want to add that because clinician conversations is absolutely an opportunity for us to have conversations, and we talk about our own, like, this is how we deal with things as therapists, but also here's some common themes that we see happening with our clients, and we just want to drop a little bit of insight on the rest of the folks who you might be able to relate to some of the things that we're seeing that come up with folks. And so you probably will find part of yourself that this resonates with. So you're like, oh yeah, that's me, or I know somebody who fits in that category, and we'll give you some tips along the way on how to start navigating, these common challenges that we have. And we have transitioned into live because Rachel added to the team, and she was like, so can we do this live? This is one of the ways that I think that we are awesome as a team in terms of coming together and collaborating, knowing that everybody has something different to add that is of value, because real talk, Facebook changed a lot of stuff, and Rachel had to walk me through how to get this done for us to actually get live on this call. So we work well together as a team, and so this is part of that, and you get to see how we interact, and also get to know our personalities, because therapists can be this like elusive group that folks are like, I don't know about a therapist, but we real, and we real people, and we gonna talk real and regular today.
Yes, we are.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you. Anybody else want to jump in? And if not, we gonna let Benjamin go and kick us off.
I do have something to add.
Bring
So for those of us tuning in online, one kind of primary thing that I like about live is that it allows us to comment back and forth with viewers. So I always kind of encourage that for people to comment and interact with us. What are your thoughts? Are we saying some stuff that resonates with y'all? Are we not? Like, do we need to touch on something else? Do you have topics in mind that you guys would like to have us chat about? Drop those in the comments. And yeah,
Mhm.
that was my little tidbit.
Thank you.
Rachel, are you in charge? Can you be in charge of checking the chat for us so we know if people are interacting and such?
I can be.
Awesome. That'd be great because I can't keep an eye on it. So,
For sure.
all right, team working together. Yes. Today we are thinking about when things are going really great, and this is something that comes up time usually in the summertime for me in particular. I think it's mostly most therapists. Things are going well, the sun's out, the beach is calling, and people go, "Well, I don't need therapy. There's probably things are going well. There's nothing I need to talk about." And it's like, that's no, because counseling, at least the initial part, it's like going down to the basement, tearing down the old drywall, getting to the studs, and getting that all stripped down, then getting new materials, building stuff up. But once you build the room, you got to live in it now and learn this new space and really understand it. And that's kind of what we want to talk about now is when everything's great and good, what do you talk about in therapy? And actually, you should actually continue to go to therapy. And this was Rachel. How did you say it? You said it really succinctly. You're like happy, go to therapy, right?
Yes, happy, go to therapy. So it's just like when you looking good and you feeling good, does that stop you from going to the mall? Not usually. Like, does that stop you from stopping in the makeup aisle and finding a new foundation and a new eyeliner and a new mascara? Probably not. Like, you always want to find something better than what you already have. So that was kind of my thoughts on like happy. Like, okay, we looking good, we feeling good. How can we continue to look better and feel better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also what I like about it too, when things are going well, it's good to come to counseling, to continue to come to counseling because the fires are kind of put out and you're not in crisis mode anymore. And then it
Mhm.
gives us time to work on the treatment goals, those underlying things. Because if you're always in crisis, you come to therapy, that's fine too. We're putting out those fires to get you in a better space. But then when those fires are out and things are feeling calm again, now we have time to work on those underlying things because they will come back up if they're not dealt with. That's why it's good to continue.
I have a few things that are coming up for me. One is that I think the spring and the change in the seasons, especially here in Michigan, like the transition from winter to spring to summer is an illusion that we are better, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh, the sun is out. I am so much better. And how has that actually impacted the thing that was wrong in your life that got you to therapy in the first place? Yeah, you might feel a little bit different about it because we have these behaviors that we're engaging in that take us away from the intensity of the emotions that are coming up for us, but it doesn't make them go away because we have suddenly gotten more active in life. And so it's, yes, I feel good, and I want to actually get ahead of the game in therapy so that I don't, because here's what happened. I might feel good. This is how you know you need to stay in therapy. If the sun is not out today and all of a sudden you struggling, you probably should have stayed in therapy, right? Or if you go through the spring and the summer and then the fall starts to come, you probably should have stayed in therapy because it is that time when we're at home more where we're actually now thinking more about the things that are bother us. It's not that they went anywhere. We're just thinking about them because we're not distracted by all of the stuff that feels like fun to do outside. And so I actually had somebody to say to me recently that he was like, I get it now. We're actually in therapy talking about stuff that I have never talked to anybody about before. And I can see how these things are impacting my relationships with other people. And that is what happens when you go, even though you are feeling better, or as Jill said, when you're no longer in that space of like putting out the fire. So you put out the fire on your house, you still got work to do, even though the fire.
Right. It's the stuff inside still burnt up. Like you
Yeah,
can't
right.
just leave the debris there. Like you need to clean that up and find a new home for that debris and not, just live in that. Like who want to just live in chaos and just walk around stepping on burnt stuff? Like, no,
Right?
you need to address that.
Right? And just because
Right.
you got temporary shelter, it doesn't, the house still is burnt down to the ground and you got to fix it.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I love that we're having this conversation too, because it does happen, and and hopefully this will help people so it's not repeating that cycle, like happy in the summer, spring and summer, and then the fall, then here we go again. Or like Dr. Brooks said, when the sun is not shining, and knowing that it's okay to continue therapy when things are good. And then you can talk about other things, because as therapists, we like to hear about the good and the not so good. It doesn't have to be all bad to come to therapy. We
For
like
sure.
to hear
That's
about,
honestly my favorite part.
yeah,
When people are feeling good and
Yeah.
they gotta,
Yeah.
when my clients gotta report back on the positives, the things that are going well, like that is my favorite part of session. Like, of course, the parts where we working through the nitty gritty, but let me hear about what's going good too.
Yes.
Mhm.
balance
Yeah.
out
It's cool to see them using like the skills, especially like when everything's going right. That's like my time to go, okay, things are cool now. Great. Let's start exploring. It's time to explore like different things of self-care, using skills to like I'll say, hey, why don't you go, check out I had somebody start going up hiking or something like that, or bowling, or whatever, just trying, painting, just exploring their own loves, needs, things that they've probably never thought of. Usually that's what I'll hear too. I've never thought of this, Benjamin. Well,
Mhm.
yeah, that's because you've been putting out fires your whole life. You never had time to think of it. So yeah, go ahead.
I was
Oh,
gonna say to that point, one of the things that people say is, I don't know what to talk about if I don't have problems.
Yeah.
We do.
got it.
Okay,
Yes.
I got you. Tap
Yeah.
me in. Tap
It's
me
the
in,
there. Oh,
coach.
look, Zoom then got smart and put my hand up. So um it's the therapist's job to really, when you come in for your first session and you say like, here's where I want life to be, and to Jill's point about the treatment plan, is we always have your goals in mind, and we're always like, here is where this person wants to land. And so once this emergency is over, we're still keeping that in mind. Okay, well, this is where you said you wanted to end up, and here are all the things that come into play that will help you to not only get there, but to be able to sustain that space. Because
sure.
nobody wants to do this mentally and emotionally all the time. That is too much work. You're too tired. I don't have time or energy for that. None of us want that for ourselves. And so staying in therapy when you're happy helps you to stabilize over time, so that then you can actually start making some real gains. And then also, which is a whole other conversation, this is how people then get off medication or get on the lowest possible dose of medication, because
sure.
they keep coming even when they're happy.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's being preventative, and it's also what I tell clients: don't put your weapons down, because we tend to, when things are going well and you're feeling some relief, you stop doing what you're doing so that you're feeling better. And we kind of put those, it's like, keep doing what you're doing because it's working, and don't put those weapons down, I call them, because things are going well, you feel like you can kind of exhale and not use them anymore. But you'll find that they will start to rise up again if you don't. Those issues will rise up again.
Yeah.
For sure. I would say I do that a lot in sessions of like role playing. So once the client reaches like a portion of their life where they're stable and quote unquote happy, is when I'm like, okay, so say such and such come up to you and start talking to you crazy again. What you gonna do? Like, are you
I
gonna
love
use
that.
these skills that we talked about? Or are you gonna pop off and then we gonna be back here again? Like, but having that conversation when the client is happy kind of allows them to reflect on like, okay, you're right. Like I'm not in that place that I used to be. I do have some additional skills. How can I use them in this same kind of position? Like if I'm given the same scenario, what am I going to do differently? And so that's one of the things that I like when people still come when they're happy, is because we can still grow and still talk about the old stuff, the stuff that's still relevant. Like, these are situations that are still coming up. And still like show the client like, you've grown, but you still got some work to do.
Yeah, yeah. And it's good to write down things that happen between sessions so
Mm-hmm.
that when you get to session, you may not remember. Sometimes you have a rough week in between, but by the time you get to therapy, you're okay. But,
Mm-hmm.
but you still need to, make note of that, or different feelings that come up outside of session. Write those things down, and then you can bring them to session. I like for clients to kind of be prepared and come with something too, because the change comes from the client. We're here to guide and direct. So they have to be willing to do the work too.
Mhm. One of the things that I do often in therapy, and it's funny because clients have recognized that this is what I do, whether it is something that makes you unhappy or something that makes you happy, we're going to dissect the heck out of it. Because I want to know
I
what.
know that's right.
Yeah.
Actually this was like years ago. I had a kid tell me, I asked him a question. He gave me an answer, and it was like in the positive. And so I was like, okay, well, tell me about that. How did that go? And he was like, okay, so I thought that if I told you that it went well, that I wasn't gonna have to talk about it. But so I'm gonna have to talk about it anyway. I might as well just tell you what actually happened. Yeah, because now that you're happy, we can dissect why are you happy, what is happening, and are these things that you can repeat. How did I get to this place? Because once I know what has worked well for me, then I can continue to engage in those behaviors versus losing skills. And then it becomes part of what I call your coping toolkit. Because I think a lot of people, we don't have enough stuff in our toolkit. We got a couple things and
a screwdriver and a hammer.
Look,
I'd be like, where the pliers? Like,
right? The toolkit looks like the summer and the beach, and that's it. Well, we got 4 seasons around here in Michigan. And if those 2 things are not an option, you're gonna have to come up with something else. So it's when we start to have those conversations about feeling happy that we can really pull those pieces apart to say, okay, well, what is it that is creating this space for you? And then how do we reproduce this in moments where it's not naturally coming up for you, or to Rachel's point, you have to work a little harder at it.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, so true.
Well, and once you find those key aspects of what makes you happy, you can diversify those self-care things into all sorts of other things that also include those things that make you happy. So I did glass blowing before, I do model building and music and stuff. So there's a lot of various things that if you like a creative mind or a really detail-oriented person, you can go crazy and add, like you said, add a lot more tools to the tool belt. So you've got everything that you could use that you ever possibly will. Whatever mood you're in, you got some self-care for it.
And that's the thing. It's whatever feels good at that moment, because I love to bike ride. I have not been bike riding in 3 years. But I got other stuff, and that is a self-care thing for me, and it's something that I really enjoy. But I'm not trying to get mowed down out here. I got to figure out a way to do it.
We got 18 bike lanes. You ain't gonna get hit.
Look, but are the drivers gonna stay in their lane?
I know some of us kind of confused on how to navigate the bike
I'm
lane.
trying to tell you, and I'm like, we got to break it in real quick. Somebody told me once, as a total side note, somebody told me once, which was funny because she was young, she was like in her 20s. She said, I don't ride in the car in the snow with anybody with less than 2 years experience. So,
very specific.
Right, very specific. So I need these drivers to get at least 2 years experience with lanes before I feel safe to do that. But I'm saying that to say that since I'm not doing that, I've had to find other things that I do enjoy doing to still fill my cup, and to help in those moments where, like, yeah, I need to be doing something, but this is not the thing that I want to do, or this is not the thing that I can do.
Yeah.
And some of my clients I talked to about making a safety box and they can do it however they want, be as creative as they want, and put things in there like a toolbox, and put things in there so that when they're having a rough time, they can kind of whip out that box too. Some people put chocolates, they'll put some
Mm.
popcorn or a movie or whatever, and then just something that can, in the moment, that can kind of take them to that space, that a better space.
I'd put little bags of Jill's coffee in there, just little samples, just to, just that aroma and the taste. It's just for me that's so therapeutic. I just these little essential oils, just a little peppermint rubbed on the hands and smell that. It's
Mhm.
simple, easy stuff. It doesn't have to be, these crazy outlandish things that you're doing. It can be really small, very quick little things for self-care that can just have huge, huge, huge advantages. So yeah, I like that box thing. My daughter has one of those from her doctor, I think, or something like that. So that's awesome.
I was gonna say I use that kind of similar idea, but I like write on popsicle sticks. And so at the end of kind of each session or every other session where we write down like, okay, what's a new skill that I can try? And so it might be going to the movies. And so it may not be, obviously can't put the movie theater in that box, but you can write on that popsicle stick, take myself on a date or call my mom or, just anything small that can't like tangibly be able to fit into that box. And so I like that idea of like carrying the box around. But I do
Mhm.
something similar.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we need it in these times. There's so much going on, and just remembering keep using the weapons, the things that work, and being open to learning some new skills too. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that, Jill, because that especially the reason why you're feeling good is because you're using the skills.
Mm-hmm.
That's the operative thing is so that's why you need to really, be very intentional about having room in your life for those things and use them and keep using them because then you just go and crash and burn. It's like an airplane can't fly when it doesn't have any fuel. So that's the self-care is your fuel, and that's why you're flying around and doing all the cool things. But the second you stop fueling the plane, yeah, it's gonna crash. So
Here's
Sure.
something
I
that,
would say
oh, go ahead.
I ask clients that question though, like whether they're feeling happy or not or sad. Like I'm like, what you doing? Like just that simple question. Because if you are happy, what you doing to keep you happy? Because
mhm,
those are the skills that we need to grow on and enhance. But if you're not happy, okay, what we doing?
Mhm.
That's not what we need to be doing. But kind of differentiating with the client, but asking that same question. What are you doing?
Mhm. So this kind of is related to this, and it starts to pull in a slightly different topic. But in listening, it's the what are we doing and making sure that when we are happy, that we are talking to other people about it so that they can encourage and support us. Because what's coming up for me is this experience that I had not too long ago where when I tell you I was struggling. Like life was lifing, and I was like, okay, this is not the space that I need to be in. And I almost did not call one of my friends, but I ended up calling anyway. And the awesome part was my friend knows what my self-care is.
Mm.
And my friend was like, and it wasn't going to change the situation, but my friend was like, okay, go home, take a bath, put some music on. I was like, yeah. Because in my mind, life was happening. I couldn't even think about that stuff. But the
Mm-hmm.
fact that somebody else knew what could help me get back to my space was great for me. And it was in that space. And then next thing I know, I was like, I'm gonna light some candles and turn these lights off. Like it was like, okay, don't get too deep into it now.
yeah,
But it ended up being exactly what I needed to start to shift my mindset. And then I had also told somebody else. And in that moment, I was able to figure out exactly what it was that was throwing me off.
Mm.
And then I could talk about that. And then I was like, yep, I'm good to go. I have reset now. And so those spaces that make you happy and knowing what they are, when you're able to pour yourself into it, it can offset you when you're not feeling happy. And then start to gradually, subconsciously bring you back into that space because you're
Mm-hmm.
connecting into the feelings and the emotions that go along with these things that create happiness for you, and then it helps you to start to shift. So we want to know what they are. You want to know what they are.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay. Yes,
Mhm.
that's so
Yeah.
true. So true.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll do a quick time check. How are we doing on time? Because usually
We
when we
are
get
right
2
going,
minutes.
That's
but
it.
we got 2
2
minutes.
minutes. We do.
All right. Well, final thoughts then, folks. Any final things before we head out? Anybody in the chat commenting?
Not today. Not
That's
today, but
okay.
that's all right.
That's all right.
That's all right.
We'll
It's our first
Right,
live.
it
it's our
is.
first
I
one.
see
So
3 people watching. Hey, people.
hey,
We got up to 5 at one point.
We did. Okay.
Yeah.
not
Well,
bad.
thank
That's
you.
actually better than most my streams. So woohoo!
Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't say final thoughts. Because this, can go much further than today. I want to just encourage people to keep going to therapy. Like, yes, hey,
I know,
Latoya
right?
Eklund.
I was
I was
trying to
watching
let
the
you
comments.
finish talking.
Yes.
We got our first chat. Hey, look,
Hey.
I don't want to butcher it because we can butcher some names. How would you say that? I would say Latroya. Is that right? Tell us.
That's what I said. I hope it was right.
If not, put it in there how we supposed to say it. You see in my name, I got it written out because I'm like, folks be saying.
That's
Yes.
like Leatrice.
That's it.
Yeah.
But hey, glad you're watching. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Victoria, yeah, that's it.
I think that is encouraging to hear all of us talk about the reasons that folks do need to keep going. Not only does it help us stay in business, but we gotta
Amen.
be real.
Yeah.
But we do this work to help people. Like, it's not for the money, it's to help us just have a better mentally stable community. So to encourage people, even if you think life is going great, that's great. I love that for you. But still go see your therapist on your scheduled day, please.
Yes.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And I love doing the work of a therapist too. It's a pleasure to be able to help people. And also I'm doing my work too. So I have a therapist that I regularly check in with. So I'm taking care of myself as well. And then also the skills, the tools will work if you work them. So you use your tools.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
Any final thoughts, Dr. Brooks?
So what's coming up for me is that therapy oftentimes takes on a different look than what we or what the client thinks that it's supposed to look like. Sometimes clients are in therapy a lot longer than they thought that they would be. But if you're having some considerations or some ideas about like, hey, I don't think I need to come, talk to your therapist about that and work with them, continue to collaborate with them, because they can help you to start considering those things that are still on your treatment plan that are left unresolved. And they can help to prevent you from being in a space where I stop coming to therapy because I think I'm good. And coming to therapy is not because you're not doing well, which I think is usually a lot of people are like, you go because you're struggling. No, I'm going because I don't want to struggle. Right. It's prevention.
It's preventative.
It's preventative. Sometimes people will say, well, I don't, therapy is for crazy folks. No, I want to get to you before crazy. Like,
Okay.
let's talk about that. Let's prevent things from happening. So make sure that you're having those conversations with your therapist about, hey, this is what I'm thinking, and see what their input is. And I've had situations where folks had stopped coming. They wanted to decrease in services, and I didn't recommend it, and they came back because they weren't where they thought they were. Had we collaborated more about it, then we could have potentially prevented some things from happening as well. So go continue the healthy relationship that you have with your therapist, and come to some conclusions together.
Absolutely. Yes.
Agreed.
I love that. And take care of your physical health too. Watching those foods and just staying healthy as well too. That all
Agreed.
goes together, is holistic.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, all right. I'm sure those 2 minutes are pretty much almost up. So I don't have anything to add. Y'all said everything wonderfully, and I think this has been a wonderful first stream, and it's always fun to talk with y'all. Thanks, folks in the chat. And anybody who was lurking in the chat and just hanging out. We love to have your interactions and look forward to doing this again pretty soon. So,
Yeah, so if you have any ideas and you haven't thrown them in there yet, or you're watching the replay, go ahead and throw some ideas in there. But if not, we always got something to talk about, right?
Sure
We
do.
always got
Yes.
something that can be worked on. And so we'll come up with something. We'll get some information out to you to know what's coming ahead. So we will see you soon.
Mhm.
bye.
All right.
Bye.